Okay, we are reading from Called to Serve, Autobiographies of Don and Doris Ann Roth. And the first half of the book was that Dad wrote, and the second half of the book Mom wrote. We're reading from chapter 4, Teen Years. So Mom, anytime you have a thought or a question, just stop me, and I'm glad to talk about it. Okay, turning 13. We always celebrated birthdays in our family, mostly with a dinner including close relatives and perhaps cousins and friends our ages. I don't remember having all-night pajama parties and noisy teen parties, especially in 1938 when I turned 13. Wow, 13. Oh, and here's a photo of Joan and Doris Ann. Right there. So Mom, I don't know if you can see that. So there's you, and then Joan, who is 5 years younger than you. Joan just turned 91. Grandma Brownlee's funeral took place less than 3 weeks before my birthday. America still suffered from the Great Depression, and ominous signs in Europe that year eventually turned into World War II. A big surprise. I felt quite grown up attending my 8th grade classes in the high school building. My cousin Jean lived just 2 blocks from us. So I don't know who Jean is.
Jean or Joan?
Jean. So you have a cousin named Jean. So it must be, well, I don't know whose side that is. Maybe we can find out another time. My cousin Jean lived just 2 blocks from us, so we walked to school together. One crisp fall day in 1938, she could hardly...
Jean Brownlee.
Oh, okay. She could hardly contain herself. I hear your mother is having another baby, she confided. Aren't you excited? Jean's Aunt Emma, with whom she lived, had a nose for news and loved to share it. So Emma is, what, your mother's sister? I'm not sure who Emma is. I mean, obviously it's on Grandma's side because her name was Brownlee. So I don't know.
But she probably married.
I don't remember how I responded, but I felt hurt that I had to hear such personal information from someone other than my parents. The minute I reached home that afternoon, I ran to find Mother. Are you really pregnant? I blurted out. Yes, it's true, Doris Ann, but I just learned for sure the other day. I planned to tell you after I got used to the idea myself. I'm so sorry you had to learn this way. Are you feeling sick? I asked with concern in my voice. I'll do all I can to help you. So,
Joan?
Well, this is... No, this was Carol. Because you were 13. And so Carol would have been 8. So Joan was much younger than you. Sorry, Aunt Carol was much younger than you. Okay. I'll do all I can to help you. Having a baby around the house would be more work, but lots of fun too. So Jessie Carroll was born in 1939. You were born in 1925. So
Jessie
you were
was
14.
named after...
Well, somebody on your dad's side? Or your mom's side? I don't remember. Okay, so you were almost 14 years old when your sister Carol was born. And that was nice of you that you told your mother that you will do whatever work around the house to help while she's pregnant. In the following months, I spent many hours ironing Mother's wraparound maternity dresses. I showed more skill with those than with my father's work trousers. He thought they should have creases in them. All right, so baby...
And I probably should.
Baby sister Carol. Jessie Carroll. No, I didn't remember that Carol was her middle name. Okay.
And
arrived.
Jessie was after her grandmother.
Oh, okay. She was born at home, arrived on June 27, 1939. Although thrilled to have a baby sister, I felt sorry that she would never know her grandmother Brownlee. My parents really had their hands full at that time, and I did everything I could to help at home. I enjoyed assisting with the baby and also did household chores such as ironing, washing dishes, and cleaning. I must confess, though, that scrubbing the bathroom didn't excite me at all. Joan, only 8 years old then, couldn't take much responsibility. Of course, I would much rather read a good book or hang out with friends like most tired young teens. For fun and a special treat, we occasionally had a taffy pull or made a batch of chocolate fudge. Mother dressed Carol like a little doll. I still remember the white pique, Pique. I don't know what that is.
Piqué,
Piqué,
that kind of material.
circular skirted dress she wore as a toddler. Faced with red, it had little cherries dangling from a leaf-trimmed pocket. Okay, so now we'll look at two pictures. Here's baby Carol, and then this is Carol at age 6. Okay. So baby Carol and Carol at age 6. High school days. High school days brought me much joy. I entered Washington High School as an 8th grader in September 1938.
As an
8th grader.
8th grader.
It filled nearly a whole city block between Jefferson and Allison Avenues at Hallam Avenue. Built of light-colored brick and 3 stories tall, it featured a very large gymnasium with permanent seating along the sides and a wooden floor well-suited for basketball games, many of which I attended.
What is this?
This is Washington High School, where you went to high school. So here's a photo of it.
And
There's Washington High School.
when I graduated from high school, I had another member of the class that was just as smart as I was.
Okay.
Yeah,
Were you co-valedictorians?
yeah.
Wow, okay.
I was a Victorian, but
But she was as smart as you were. You're really smart. The school colors, black and blue, did not make a striking combination, so gold was often added to uniforms and other things. The auditorium, used regularly for school assemblies, sports, band concerts, and for the spring and senior plays put on by the students, could be adapted to meet most any need. Chairs provided extra seating on the gym floor for special occasions. Girls' gym classes took place on the large stage. We wore cunning, one-piece, blue, bloomer-style outfits. The fellows used the gym floor when the weather prohibited our walking to the football stadium for fresh air and exercise, about a 15-minute walk each way. I walked to and from school and also went home for lunch nearly every day from 12 to 1:30.
how many people that wrote books would have people that were so anxious to be in school and do well?
I normally had about 35 minutes at home. Mother usually had lunch ready, but when she didn't, I had to move rather fast. Good old Campbell's tomato soup. In bad weather, we could bring our own lunch and eat in the school lunchroom. The school provided no meal service. The girls' club had permission to sell candy and snacks before and after school and at lunch break, so I took my turn as a candy girl while in senior high. I often felt tired during my teens. For a while, I had a problem with anemia and took iron pills and went on a liver diet. Ugh! What is a liver diet? Was it liver pills? Was it eating
I don't know.
liver? I don't know what that meant. Curriculum. The enrollment total less than 1,000, probably closer to 700 to 800.
It was pills, probably.
Okay. At first, the building seemed really huge, but I soon learned my way around and made new friends. We could choose from three courses: general, commercial, and college preparatory. Never dreaming I would be able to attend college, I registered for the commercial course. This would prepare me for an office job. I took general math instead of algebra and geometry, civics to teach us good citizenship and the value of service to others. Boy, that's something that I don't know if they still teach civics, but that is valuable to teach good citizenship and the value of service to others. Also took home economics, gymnastics, English 1 to 4, biology, US and world history, and problems of democracy.
Problems of democracy.
We really have problems of democracy now, don't we? Whew. The commercial courses included junior business training, bookkeeping, 2 years of typing and shorthand, business economics, commercial law, and office practice.
Commercial law.
As a conscientious student who made, quote, H for honor in nearly every class, I had to work harder at my US and world history courses. S for satisfactory didn't satisfy me. I believed that I should use the intelligence God had given me to do my very best. English always interested me. I enjoyed my commercial courses too, and had 2 wonderful teachers for those. My homeroom teacher taught me something about library science on the side, and I did some volunteer work at the school library. Extracurricular. I took part in extracurricular activities too. Most of the football games occurred on Friday night or Saturday afternoon. I chose not to go then, but attended the ones held at other times. They were exciting, even though I didn't understand the game too well. In the winter, I went to some basketball games. I enjoyed attending the school plays, but knew my talents did not lie in acting. My parents went to the band concerts with me, but I knew Mother liked orchestral music better than she did band music. Orchestral. I feel the same way now. Clubs. I joined the camera club, where we learned the principles of good photography and had practice in developing and printing film. I had membership in the library club. The YWCA sponsored a girls' reserve club in which I participated in service and social activities. I served as president of that in my senior year. As one of the girls selected from the junior and senior classes, I became a member of the Sorors Club,
Sorors.
SORORES. What is that?
Sorors Club. That's just a name.
Qualities for membership included character, leadership, and service to the school and to the community. We sponsored an Easter morning breakfast and a Mother's Day tea, among other things. During my junior and senior years, I served on the Inter-Club Council, working closely with others helped to cement friendships. No paying job. Due to the country's poor economy, I could not get a paying job while in high school.
You're at war then.
At war, right. I did what I could to help at home. Babysitting for a couple of aunts netted me some spending money, and I did some volunteer work for Grandma Beringer. War declared, Sunday, December 7, 1941, began like most Sundays in our home. So you were born in 1925, so you were 16 years old. Yeah, just turned 16, because this was December 7, 1941. After breakfast, we relaxed, read the newspaper, and I undoubtedly complied with Mother's desire for help in straightening up the living room and vacuuming the rug. We often had visitors on Sunday, this particular day. This particular day, Aunt Edna had come for a visit. Who is Aunt Edna?
She was 5 years older. She was my aunt.
Okay. Your mother's sister? Or your father's sister?
Well, it was on
The Brownlee side?
Beringer.
Oh, on the Beringer side. So your dad's sister, maybe. Aunt Edna had come for a visit. She mentioned my very recent 16th birthday party. so this was December 7th. Your birthday party would have been November 21, 1941. So just, 2.5 weeks later. And we chatted about my junior year in high school. The radio played quietly in the background. Listen, Dad shouted as he turned up the volume on the radio. There's a special news flash coming. Then the newscaster announced at 7:55 a.m. Hawaii time, Japanese planes attacked the Pacific Fleet units at the naval base at Pearl Harbor and Army aircraft at Hickam Field and other nearby military in Hawaii, other nearby military installations. In Tokyo, the Japanese government has declared war on the United States and Great Britain. Stay tuned for more information as it becomes available. Unquote. We sat in stunned silence for what seemed like several minutes. Then Aunt Edna declared, I'm going to volunteer to help in whatever way that I can.
And she did. She joined.
The surprise assault by about 360 Japanese planes ended nearly 2 hours later with devastating results. The attack sank 18 ships, destroyed 174 American planes, and damaged 4 battleships,
174,
3 cruisers, and 3 destroyers. Casualties numbered 3,681 persons killed or wounded. All during that fateful Sunday, we heard more news over the radio. An, quote, extra, unquote, edition of the Observer/Reporter newspaper gave more details. I remember Sunday, December 7, 1941, as if it were yesterday. The next day, President Roosevelt asked Congress to declare war on Japan. On December 11, Germany and Italy declared war on the United States, and we were in turn declared war on them, making us an official partner with the Allies in World War II. Our lives would see many changes. Many older high school students volunteered or were drafted into military service. Those of us back home wrote letters to lift their spirits.
I had cousins that...
Okay. Our school principal left for active duty in the United States Naval Reserve. Aunt Edna joined the Waves, a term used for women in the Navy. Women accepted for volunteer emergency service. WAVES, Waves. Uncle Zedek, ZADOK, enlisted in the Navy and suffered slight wounds during the Normandy invasion. 3 of my first cousins, John, Jim, and Charles Brown Lee, enlisted within 3 months of the attack on Pearl Harbor. My twin cousins from West Virginia, Edwin and Erwin Heck, enlisted in the Navy Air Corps. Edwin's spectacular rescue after his Corsair fighter was shot down in Japan's inland sea.
Yeah, he was in the sea.
Shot down and hit the water. Wow. May have been the quickest rescue on record from the standpoint of the amount of time the Dumbo patrol rescue plane actually rested on the water. It picked him up within sight of Japanese walking the streets of Kobe after his 5-hour ordeal in the sea. Patriotism. Real patriotism reigned in those years. Most young men considered it an honor to serve in the armed forces, so they enlisted. Others, especially married men with children, waited until they received a letter from the draft board saying, "You have been selected." Young women served as nurses and in any way they could. Citizens respected and saluted the U.S. flag and properly cared for it. People sang the national anthem with fervor. The U.S. Treasury encouraged everyone to purchase war bonds to help finance the war. Children who had less money purchased defense stamps at school. When they saved $18.75 worth of stamps in a special folder, these could be turned into a $25 war bond, which matured to full value in 10 years. I knit scarves for servicemen under the auspices of the Red Cross, wrote encouraging letters, and sent care packages at Christmas time, filled with homemade cookies, candy, and personal items. Let me see how many more pages there are. Wow, this is a long, long chapter. Okay, we're going to do this in 2 recordings, this one chapter. On the home front, my father, not drafted because of a severe hearing loss in his right ear, worked in a defense factory during the war. Later, while building a new garage, he fell off the roof and landed on his foot. As a result, he always walked with a limp. I remember that garage.
Fell on his foot, huh?
Yeah. So you walked out the back door of 185 Henderson Avenue and down a concrete sidewalk to the garage. It was a 2-car garage with room, I think, on either side to store tools, and a room in the back of the garage for a workbench. I remember that distinctly. World War II made a tremendous impact on our lives, even though no battles were fought on the American home front. We had practiced blackouts in case of attacks by air, and my dad volunteered as one of the air raid wardens who warned people if any light shone from their windows at night.
Yeah. My dad watched
For light.
yeah.
Okay.
We'd go and knock on the door and turn off your light.
For the war effort, we had scrap metal drives. We recycled such things as flattened tin cans and aluminum foil, even from candy bars and sticks of chewing gum. Shortages. Commodities remained in short supply. Our troops overseas sorely needed them. As a result, we received ration books and could buy such things as tires, gas, sugar, meat, cheese, and butter only if we had a ration coupon available. Automobile manufacturers produced no new cars from January 1942 until after the end of the war. They converted their factories to make tanks, etc. for the war. Nylon stockings, and then in parentheses, pantyhose hadn't yet come on the market, remained in short supply. The ones we did get, however, lasted well and didn't get runs at the first wearing. They needed the nylon for parachutes, and silk hose cost too much. The rayon stockings we sometimes managed to get looked terribly shiny and baggy and had to be held up with girdles or garter belts. I remember when rubber girdles were the in thing. Can you imagine trying to pull one on in the summertime on a hot, humid day, even with a generous application of body powder? Crazy, wouldn't you agree? Liquid leg makeup became the craze during World War II. Really a wonderful invention. You could even draw a seam of the back of your legs with an eyebrow pencil. Wow.
I did that.
The following tips for applying leg makeup appeared in a 1943 issue of Good Housekeeping. Number 1, before you begin, rub your fingernails over a cake of soap so that the top of the nails won't be filled with brown. 2, to avoid splashing makeup around the bathroom, stand on a newspaper and put 1 foot on the tub. 3, cup your hand, pour out enough to cover the entire leg and press hands together. Starting at the foot, spread the color
That's
with
color on the legs
Why would they do that?
to look like stockings.
Wow, okay.
Couldn't afford.
Starting at the foot, spread the color with a round and round motion of both hands. 4, work fast, concentrating on covering the surface before the makeup dries. Use a light touch. Heavy pressure makes streaks. 5, when the leg is covered, lightly pat it with the fingertips of both hands, paying special attention to spots where color is uneven. When the makeup seems to stick to the fingers, stop patting. 6, never trying to patch spots after the makeup is dry. The results will be streaky. 7, if you dress before the leg is dry, pin up your skirt with pinch clothespins to keep it rubbing off the color. Okay, so that's about half the chapter of chapter 4, teen years. So I'm going to stop now, and then we'll pick it up a little bit later.
Who knows if they print that stuff
Right.